Namaskar, Namaste, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, students and scholars, teachers and trainers, professors, professionals, listener learners, respected doctors and directors, honorable ministers, managers, honorable advocates, notarizers, administrators and advisors. I, Dr. Rakesh from USA, heartily cordially welcome. It is really nice time, nice place, nice section that we are appreciating our holy Indian cultural identities. What is happening around the world, let us see through the mirror of newspaper. Kailash Mansarovar Yatra giving a new impetus to ties, says Chinese envoy. China is willing to maintain communication with India through diplomatic and military channels and in the spirit of equal consultation and mutual security. Further, refine the border area management and control rules so as to achieve sustainable peace and tranquility in the border areas. From New Delhi, China is prepared to discuss refining border management and control rules to resolve issues around its disputed boundary with India after the four-year military standoff ended at the line of actual control. LAC, Chinese ambassador to India, said on Sunday he expressed optimism that the revival of the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra would inject impetus to ties and that direct fights would be launched soon. Rejecting the decision of China's support to Pakistan during Operation Sindoor, open to debate on Operation Sindoor in Parliament, government says. Opposition insists on response from Prime Minister on Operation Sindoor and its after effects during the monsoon session. Minister says any debate on the subject should be held within laid down rules. From New Delhi, the center is open to discussing all issues of national importance, including Operation Sindoor in Parliament. Parliamentary Affairs Minister Kiran Rijiju shared here on Sunday. The government shared this at an all-party meeting held ahead of the monsoon session beginning on Monday. At the same time, it cautioned the opposition that any debate on the subject had to be held within the laid down rules and procedures. Opposition parties, meanwhile, insisted that Prime Minister Modi speak on Operation Sindoor, and US President Donald Trump repeated claims that he had brokered peace between India and Pakistan. They demanded a discussion on the ongoing special intensive revision of electoral laws in Bihar. We are very open to a discussion on important issues like Operation Sindoor. These are issues of great national importance. The government is not shying away and will never shy away, but is open to discussion within rules, conventions. Mr. Netanyahu told press persons after the all-party meeting. The minister emphasized that rules and conventions are important for the government. Over 100 MPs signed motion to impeach High Court Judge. Union Parliamentary Affairs Minister Kiran Rijiju on Sunday said minister playing mobile game in House Sparks Law. Railways too good for Indian Navy completes a hat-trick of titles in style. News from Chennai defending champion Indian Railways. Subdued a youthful Indian Navy 3-2 for in 3-1 in the final of the 96th MCC Murugappa Gold Cup hockey tournament at the state where Radha Krishnan Stadium here on Sunday and completed a hat-trick of titles. Sri Shankar wins long jump title in 41. W Delhi long jumper M. Sri Shankar clinched the title with a leap of 7.75 meters at the meeting. Ishan and Arjun steal the limelight in MRF 2000 from Coimbatore. Ishan Madesh and Arjun Chheda 216-year-olds stole the spotlight in the MRF Formula 2000 category, each clinching a race win as the first round of the MRF MMSC MMSI Indian National Car Racing Championship 2025 concluded at the Curry Motor Speedway here on Sunday. Miko Moto for first division of Osman Sagar Cup. Five Indians in knockouts of World 6 Red Snooker. Golden Thunder claims the Bangalore Butameru floods, a trauma that refuses to subside. In August 2024, Butameru floods wreaked havoc on Andhra Pradesh, Vijayawada, submerging homes and taking lives. A year into the disaster, residents continue to grapple with loss even as they dread another deluge. August 31, 2024, large Swadesh of Vijayawada was underwater. Long wait could be over for Jurel at Old Trafford. These combos added as cover to India's squad. Umpires should ensure there are no unnecessary breaks. Scheffler has a five-shot lead on the verge of first claret jump. Tejasvi reached out to leaders across party lines to oppose SIR in Bihar. Exercise resulting in large-scale disenfranchisement. States later to 35 leaders, including Nitish Chirag. If we don't raise our voices, it will be carried out in other states as well, says RJD leader from Patna ahead of the Bihar Assembly election. Leader of the opposition Tejasvi Yadav has written to 35 prominent leaders, both from the ruling and opposition parties, seeking their support against the election commission special intensive revision of electoral rolls in the state. The RJD leader, who posted a copy of the letter on X on Sunday, alleged that the ongoing exercise was resulting in large-scale disenfranchisement. Mr. Yadav has written to leaders such as Bihar CM Nitish Kumar, Lok Janshakti Party President Chirag Paswan, Hindustani Awam Morcha Secular Founder Jitan Ram Manjhi, Telugu Desam Party Chief and Andhra Pradesh CM and Chandrababu Naidu, all Jharkhand Students Union President Sudesh Mehto, Apna Dal Chief Anupriya Patel, Leader of the Opposition in the Lok Sabha Rahul Gandhi, and CPI General Secretary Dipankar Bhattacharya. Deep sense of anguish. The RJD leader stated in the letter that he was written with a deep sense of anguish and urgency. The farce and tragedy of the ongoing SIR in Bihar is shaking the very foundation of democracy through large-scale disenfranchisement. It is a clear indication of how the independent institution of the EC is adamant on eroding public trust in the integrity of our poll process. It stated. Mr. Yadav further wrote that every person in this country, irrespective of their background or status, is proud of their right to vote and their ability to participate in the governance of the country is deeply empowering. Expressing apprehension over the SIR, he said now lakhs of voters, for no fault of theirs, are being disempowered and humiliated. According to the EC's flash notes dated July 16, 2025, around 4.5% of the population is already out in the name of electors not found at their addresses. This is in addition to the 4% who have probably died or permanently shifted. Going by the numbers, journalists on the ground and political scientists who are closely observing the exercise peg the days in presagement at the whopping 12% to 15%. This is unprecedented in the history of our country, the letter stated. Mr. Yadav said he is waiting to receive a good faith and substantive response from the EC. This needs to be resisted in the strongest terms. If we do not raise our voices now, the same will be carried out in other states as well. The Constitution demands that we defend the Republic. We should not be found wanting at this historical juncture, the letter stated. Center to form team to assess disaster vulnerability in Himachal Pradesh from Chandigarh. Mafia rule in Haryana says wrong. Allegations are baseless. BJP government says tigers, tigress and tigress burning bright. At least 25 people in Maharashtra's Chandrapur forest circle have been killed in instances of human-wildlife conflict attacks, especially by tigers. So far this year, the key to mitigate such incidents lies in the relationship between the people, tigers, and the government. Will take action against people defaming Kanwar Yatris, UPCM says. Five, including three children, found dead in Ahmedabad. Sharad Pawar's grandnephew who was released misconduct. Wajah Singh cremated with full state honor in native village. World's oldest marathoner Wajah Singh, known by the nickname Servant Tornado, was cremated on Sunday with full state honors at Byas, his native village in Punjab's Jalandhar district. Governor Gulab Chand Kataria, Chief Minister Bhagwant Mann, Minister Mahinder Bhagwat, and senior other politicians attended the funeral. Wajah Singh's son Harminder Singh lit the funeral fire. Punjab police gave a salute. Punjab police gave a gun salute before the fire was lit. before the fire was lit. Wajah Singh was 114 when he was hit by an SUV on July 14. He was crossing the Jalandhar Pathankot highway when the incident occurred. He later succumbed to his injuries. Personal loan avoid five mistakes. Personal loan is often the preferred credit option for those seeking quick credit approach, quick credit access with minimal documentation and no collateral. However, this ease of access leads many borrowers to overlook crucial aspects in leading to higher interest costs, unexpected charges, or even a debt trap. Here are five common mistakes loan applicants should avoid: not getting credit report early, money making money even while one is asleep. As Albert Einstein said, compound interest in compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. If one is patient enough, he can witness how his money makes money for him even while he is sleeping. If a child pestered his father for money, his usual retort would be, "Do you think I am out there shaking a money tree?" Yes, in a way he is right. You can't just pluck money off a tree, but even a small penny is like a seemingly small seed, which when nurtured and nourished carefully can be the beginning of a forest. Power of Power of compounding. In the world of the ants, there is one such seed, which not only grows into a tree but could become an entire forest. The power of compounding. The magic of compounding is that it starts small but grows exponentially over time. More than 2 centuries ago, Benjamin Franklin, the first Postmaster General of the United States and author of the book Edward Richards' Almanac, he coined the concept saying, Money makes money, and the money that money makes money. Further highlighting its potential of exponential wealth creation in the long run. Famous physicist Albert Einstein said, "Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world." Though the phrase "the compound effect" existed for science, especially in mathematics, it became quite popular in the realm of finance, productivity, and personal development. After a best-selling book by U.S. author Darren Hardy, compound effect. The compound effect is like a snowballing effect where in a small consistent action or an investment accumulates over a period, leading to an exponential growth in personal finance. It refers to the process wherein your initial invested money earns interest and the interest and earns interest, which subsequently generates interest and the claim goes on and on. This way you make a gigantic leap from your original invested amount. Not just with the beauty of the compound effect is that you need not work hard for it, as even if you are sleeping, your invested money will silently work and keep on generating money for you. You need to give time for it. And just be patient. Consistency is the key. Let us imagine this scenario. God wishes to give a good and precious two choices will for you. First, you will clear all your debts instantly. Say 35,000 rupees. 35 lakh rupees. Second, he will give you 1 rupees on the first day with a promise that it will double every day for 1 month. So which one do you choose? Almost all 10 people would only choose the first option for 2 seasons. The first being instant gratification, and the second is the lack of awareness of compounding effects. In contrast, mathematicians or financial experts will only choose the second option of taking the 1 rupee that doubles every day for 30 days. They do not mind waiting for 30 days. Let's find out why. Money doubles. On day 1, God gives you 1 rupee. It doubles 2 rupees on the second day and 4 rupees on the third day. Likewise, it doubles to 512 rupees on the 10th day. Your patience is being tested here. In a similar doubling strategy, your money becomes 16,084 rupees on the 15th day. Time is the secret time. Biggest money on day 20 it would be 5,24,288 rupees, which is way less from the first choice. But wait, we have 10 more days. On day 24, we could have doubled to 83,88,608 rupees, and on the last day, it would be 53,68,070 53 crore 68 lakh 70,912. In just 30 days, 1 rupee is transformed into a whopping sum of more than 53 crore rupees. You call it mind blowing, but that's the power of compounding. SIP investment. Now let us take a real life example. Priya invested 1,000 rupees every month in a systematic investment plan that gives her 12% compound annual growth rate. After 5 years, our investment would have grown to almost 82,000 rupees. After 10 years, it becomes 2,32,000 rupees approximately. And after 20 years, 9,99,000 rupees. But wait, the magic has not happened yet. In 30 years, it becomes 35,29,000 rupees. And in 40 years, a voting sum of more than 1 crore rupees. So just over 1,000 rupees in monthly SIP transformed into more than 1 crore rupees in 40 years. That's the reason all financial experts advise us to start saving right from the first salary so that by the time you retire, you would have saved enough and your money would have worked for you even when you are sleeping. If you need more money, just step up your SIP amount of 1,000 rupees per month by just 10% every year. Witness the magic and enjoy your retirement life comfortably and worry free. Start saving early. At least 73 killed while trying to reach air sites across Gaza. Truce held in South Syria as week-long clashes killed 1,000. Fire at Iran's largest oil refinery killed one in the country's southwest. 10 more killed in Pakistan due to monsoon rainfall across toll crushes 200. Trump Kim G likely to meet during October APEC summit in South Korea. At least 5 killed as Indonesian passenger ferry catches fire at sea. Longest toll recorded in North Gaza where 67 were killed and 150 injured trying to access at Israeli troops admit to shooting at a gathering of thousands of Palestinians who caused the death. Israel orders evacuation in central Gaza as talks stall. Putin meets advisor to Iran's Khamenei for nuclear talks. Exit polls predict troubling for Japan PM in upper house. Russia is open to peace with Ukraine, but achieving goals remains priority. MP MP Midhun Reddy sent to judicial demand till August 1. Kerala CM pays a visit to Raj Bhavan. Visit issues with Governor. Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan called on Governor Rajendra Vishwanath Arlikar at the Raj Bhavan here on Sunday. Karnataka formed the SIT to probe Dharamshala, Dharam, Dharmasthala burial case. Education Plus. Welcome them here how Indian higher education institutions can attract foreign students. For several decades, meritorious Indian students have migrated to pursue higher education overseas. The reverse, the reverse, foreign students coming to India for education purposes has largely been of short duration and to complete specific tasks. In its 2022 notification, the University Grants Commission encouraged the establishment of foreign universities in India and increase the number of seats in various undergraduate and postgraduate programs by 25%. The latter aims to enhance enrollment of all students in institutes of higher education in India. Further, the UGC has also asked institutions to adopt a smooth and simple admission process for international students based on the equivalency of entry qualifications. In this situation, it is worth considering what can help attract foreign students to Indian universities. Strategies. The first involves strengthening our traditional arts and cultural student art and cultural studies with appropriate internship. Indian institutions should capitalize on the country's history, culture and traditions by offering programs and educational trips and exposure to the country's diversity. Another is the provision to appoint chair or research professor or professors of practice, especially with regard to indigenous technologies. Foreign students can be offered internships in areas connected to local knowledge systems and the development of new products with the help of such specialists. Thirdly, institutions need to upgrade the standard of hostels as these vary depending on the institution. Attention must also be given to the creation of outdoor and indoor sports and recreation areas. Fostering cultural exchange programs is another way to attract foreign students to India. Apart from apart from presenting various aspects of Indian regional cultures, institutions can also encourage foreign students to share details of the food, games, festivals from their own countries. Finally, the most important part is scaling up the standard of higher education in our institution, especially the course content and practical aspects of education. This will not only ensure that foreign students come to India, but also encourage our students to stay back for higher education, research and employment. Seek support. Uncertain about your career options, loan, self-confidence. This column may help. The Indian Society of International Law announces postgraduate diploma and certificate courses. Cattle traders in Maharashtra to launch boycott amid harassment. Members of the Muslim Qurayshi community condemn the student attacks on cattle and meat traders by Gaushal, Gaushals. Community body has announced an indefinite trade boycott from today has also met the DCP seeking police protection. NDRF trains dogs for use in disaster operations. Chandra Barrett, who directed Amitabh's Done, passes away. UIDAI to roll out children's Aadhaar update via schools. Annual share of abstentions. Annual share of abstentions in India's votes at the United Nations reaches an all-time high. India will address concerns of private sector in civil nuclear segment, Minister says. From New Delhi. India will be able to address the apprehensions of the private sector globally about investment in the civil nuclear sector, which was opened up to achieve the ambitious target of producing under GW of atomic power by 2047, Union Minister Jitendra Singh has asserted. Mr. Singh, who oversees the Department of Atomic Energy, said changes in relevant rules and legislation will have to be made to facilitate the entry of the private sector in the field of nuclear energy, which currently is under tight control of the government. The announcement has already been made in the union budget, but we will have to frame rules, also possible legislation to actually move on, which will take a lot of consideration, a lot of introspection. Mr. Singh said, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman in her budget speech in February announced the government's intention to amend key legislation, including the Atomic Energy Act and the Civil Liability for Nuclear Damage Act to facilitate private sector involvement. Currently, the Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited, Bhartiya Navikiya Vidyut Nigam Limited, and NPCIL NTPC joint venture company Anushakti Vidyut Nigam Limited can build nuclear power plants in the country. Scientists at the DAE are also developing the Bharat small modular reactors ranging from 50 megawatt to 300 megawatt each for installation in thermal plants which have completed their operational life. It is just that the suppliers, most of them private and most of them from the other countries, have their own apprehensions from business point of view. I'm sure in the course of time we will be able to address that also, able to satisfy them and reassure them to venture in. Mr. Singh said annual share of abstention in India's votes at the United Nations reaches an all-time high. Reform cannot wait. Aviation safety is at stake. Reform cannot wait. Aviation safety is at stake. The Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau's preliminary report on the Air Indian on the Air India Boeing 787 air crash in Ahmedabad on June 12, 2025 was released last week on July 12. The report remains inconclusive with critical uncertainties on whether pilot action was inadvertent or deliberate. I would argue that the lack of faith among pilots and those who track aviation like myself about the robustness of the investigation and its findings, whether correct or not, emanate from a deep lack of trust in the entire aviation system in India that often penalizes its personnel excessively rather than holding airlines and regulators to equal security. A long list. The designation of TRF as a terror group should put more pressure on Pakistan. The decision of the US to designate the Resistance Front TRF group that claimed responsibility for the Pahalgam terror attack in April 2025 as a foreign terrorist organization FTO and a specially designated global terrorist is a development that should undergrade the global fight against terror. The Ministry of External Affairs has called it a timely and important step forward The U.S. State Department has acknowledged the severity of the Pahalgam attack. It also names the PLF as a front-end proxy for the Lashkar-e-Taiba, which Pakistan claimed it had rendered defunct, even though the US added groups such as the LAT and the Jaish-e-Mohammed to its FTO list in 2001. India can reframe the artificial intelligence debate. India can reframe the artificial intelligence debate. Less than 3 years ago, ChatGPT dragged artificial intelligence (AI) out of research laboratories and into living rooms, classrooms, and parliaments. Leaders sensed the shockwaves instantly despite an already crowded summit calendar. Three global gatherings on AI followed in quick succession when New Delhi hosted the AI Impact Summit in February 2026. It can do more than break attendance records. It can show that governments, not just corporations, can steer AI for the public good. For the public good, India can bridge the divide. India can bridge the divide. India can bridge the divide. But the geopolitical climate is far from smooth. War continues in Ukraine, West Asia teeters between flare-ups. Trade wars are rising faster than regulators can respond. Even the Paris AI Summit February 2025 meant to unify ended in division. The United States and the United Kingdom rejected the final text. China welcomed it. The very form meant to protect humanity's digital future faces the risk of splintering. India has the standing and the credibility to bridge these divides. India's Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology began preparation in earnest in June. It launched a nationwide consultation to the MyGov platform. Students, researchers, startups, and civil society groups submitted ideas. The brief was simple: show how AI can advance inclusive growth, improve development, and protect the planet. These ideas will shape the agenda and the final declaration. This turned the consultation into the capital and gave India a democratic edge no previous host has enjoyed. Here are five suggestions rooted in India's digital experience. They are modest in cost but can be rich in credibility. Pledges and report cards. First measure that matters. India's digital tools prove that technology can serve everyone. Aadhaar provides secure identity to more than a billion people. The unified payments interface moves money in seconds. The summit in 2026 can borrow that spirit. Each delegation could announce one clear goal to achieve within 12 months. A company might cut its data center electricity use. A diversity could offer a free AI course for rural girls. The government might translate essential health advice into local language using AI. All pledges could be listed on a public website and tracked through a scoreboard a year later. Report cards are more interesting than press releases. Second, bring the global south to the front row. Half humanity was missing from the leaders' photo session at the first summit. That must not happen again. As a leader of the global South, India must endeavor to have as wide a participation as possible. India should also push for an AI for millions fund, seeded by development banks and Gulf investors, which could pay for cloud credits, fellowships, and local language data sets. India could launch a multilingual model challenge for, say, 50 underserved languages and award prizes before the closing dinner. The message is simple. Talent is everywhere and not just in California or Beijing. Third, create a common safety check since the Blacklist Summit in 2023 for the AI Safety Summit 2023. Experts have asked red teaming and stress test. Many national AI safety institutes have spring up, but no shared checklist exists. India could endeavor to broker them into a global AI safety collaborative which can share red team scripts, incident logs, and stress test on any, any model above an agreed compute line. Our own institute can post an open evaluation kit with code and data sets for bias robustness. Fourth, offer a enable middle road on rules. The United States fears heavy regulation. Europe rolled out its AI Act. China trust state control. Most nations want something in between. India can voice and balance. It can draft a voluntary frontier AI code of conduct, base it on the Seoul Flash but add D. Publish external red team result within 90 days. Disclose compute once it crosses a line. Provide an accident hotline, voluntary yet specific. Fifth, avoid fragmentation. Splintered summits serve no one. The US and China eye each other across the frontier AI race. New Delhi cannot erase that tension but can blunt it. The summit agenda must be broad, inclusive, and focused on global good. The path for India. India cannot craft a global AI authority in one week and should not try. It can stitch together what exists and make a serious push to share AI capacity with the global majority. If India can turn participation into progress, it will not just be hosting a summit, it will reframe its identity on a cutting edge issue. Girl set ablaze by miscreants in Odisha, flown to Delhi aims. Mamta, who addressed the last Martyrs' Day, Delhi before Assembly election today. Girl set ablaze by miscreants in Odisha, flown to Delhi aims. Decision to shift the 15-year-old girl who had sustained close to 75% burns was taken after a team of specialist doctors at the AIMS in Bhubaneswar observed some improvement in her condition. Opposition parties continue protest over incident. Prioritize national interest over politics, Dhankar tells all parties. From New Delhi, Vice President and Rajya Sabha Chairman Jagdeep Dhankar was urged all parties to prioritize national interest over politics and called for bonhomie and constructive engagement ahead of the monsoon session of Parliament. I appeal to everyone in the political spectrum, please have mutual respect. Please don't tread unbecoming language on television or otherwise against the leadership of one party or the other. He shared at the inaugural program for the eighth batch of participants of the Rajya Sabha internship program at the Vice President's enclave on Sunday. He said a thriving democracy could not afford an atmosphere of constant acrimony. Every Indian political party and every parliamentarian, to my knowledge, is a nationalist at the end of the day. He believes in the nation, he believes in the progress of the nation, he said. Call for discussion against the backdrop of opposition. Parties demanding a detailed discussion on Operation Sindoor and US President Donald Trump. Repeated claims of brokering peace between India and Pakistan during the recent conflict. The Vice President said that politics should not be prioritized over national interest. Let us not have politics when it is an issue of national security, national concern, and that can happen because India has to stand proud amongst the committee of nations. We are well regarded in the world. The very idea that Bharat can be controlled from outside goes against our claim. We are a nation, a sworn nation. Why should our political agenda be set by forces that are inimical to Bharat? Why should our agenda be even influenced by our enemies? He said. Advocate Bose Supreme Court against Raj Thackeray for anti-Hindi remarks. From Mumbai, a public interest litigation petition has been filed in the Supreme Court seeking criminal proceedings against Maharashtra Navnirman Sena Chief Raj Thackeray for allegedly inciting violence and spreading linguistic hatred against Hindi-speaking citizens in Maharashtra. The petition follows Mr. Thakur's recent speeches against the state government's resolution to make Hindi the third language in schools. In his petition filed on Friday, Advocate Ghanshyam Upadhyay alleged that Mr. Thackeray and his party engaged in acts of aggression, aggression based on caste, creed, and language. The petition claims that these activities pose a serious threat to the sovereignty, integrity, and unity of India, and have continued unchecked and with impunity. It called for strict legal action under various provisions of the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. The hearing is expected in the coming week. आप rejects resignation of Punjab MLA Anmol Gagan. Over 58% Dalit voters in Bihar think unemployment is biggest poll issue survey says. More than 27.4% Dalit voters in Bihar have no trust in the election commission, the survey also found. Row over minister playing mobile game in Maharashtra House. Temples of social justice. Temples of social justice. Recently, recently a political controversy erupted in Tamil Nadu on the issue of diverting temple funds for building colleges. Beyond the political debates, the issue throws light on a unique social justice model around the regulation of secular practices associated with religion. This model predominantly developed in the erstwhile Madras Presidency draws strength from a 200-year-old legislative framework which continues till date. It has gained more acceptance in South India as election approach in Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Clarity on the issue will help diffuse attempts to polarize voters around it. Religious endowments law through the Religious Endowment and Estates Regulation 1817. The East India Company set up the earliest legislative architecture around regulation of religious endowments when the British Crown assumed direct control over Indian territories in 1858. Queen Victoria issued a proclamation stating that the Swan would restrict interference in religious affairs. This was necessary as there was concern about losing face from the 1857 Sepoy mutiny, which was triggered by religious issues. However, the withdrawal of the British government from religious affairs was not complete. In fact, in the Madras Presidency, various British officials argued for continued oversight of religious endowments. Finally, the British government settled for a balanced approach. Thus, one would not interfere with practices that were essentially religious, such as rituals, but would exercise control over the intents and secular aspects of the religious endowments. The idea of the government supervising religious institutions came to be crystallized when the Justice Party was elected in 1920. One of the earliest legislative interventions by the Justicides was Bill number 12 of 1922, Hindu Religious Endowment Acts. When it was introduced in the Madras Legislative Council, it faced opposition mainly due to the provision in the law that allowed surplus temple funds to be diverted for other purposes. The nub of the issue was whether funds provided to a temple could be used for secular purpose. The matter was debated and settled in 1925 when the law was enacted. Since then, every revised version of the plenary law, including the current law, the Tamil Nadu Religious and Charitable Endowments Act 1959, has retained the provision of surplus funds. Section 36 of the 1959 Act permits the trustees of religious institutions to appropriate any surplus funds for any purpose listed under the law, with the prior sanction of the commissioner. Surplus means any amount remaining after adequate provisions have been made for the maintenance of the temple and training of its officials. The Act also empowers the Joint Commissioner or the Deputy Commissioner to appropriate funds in cases where the original purpose has become impossible to fulfill. Endowments to temples have a long and rich history. Temples received lavish donations from the sovereign Jews from as far back as in 970 AD when the Chola Empire was at its peak. Historian Anirudh Kanisheti writes that Samiyan Mahadevi, a Chola queen, made strategic donations of land and kind to temples. The practice continued during the Vijayanagara kingdom. Temples were not just places of worship, they were socio cultural hubs and were also used for educational purposes. This is confirmed by the inscriptions on the temple walls and the spacious mandapams, pillared halls, which were used to hold educational or cultural events. So the original intent argument would also support the theory of utilizing temple resources for educational purposes. The 1959 Act has been tested and upheld by 20 by constitutional courts. Among the permissible uses of surplus funds under the 1959 Act is the establishment and maintenance of universities or colleges. Section 66. These educational institutions are also required to make available the study of the Hindu religion or Hindu temple architecture. Seen within this framework, building colleges from temple funds is not only legal but a legal extension of these provisions. Social Social justice legacy. The controversy around the use of temple funds cannot be restricted to discussing legal propositions. However, it also carries ideological and socio-political significance. In the pre-colonial era, the motivation for the rulers to support large-scale endowments was that the temples acted as channels through which state resources could be allocated for important welfare projects. Through colonial rule, the British East India Company and the Crown viewed sovereign improvement in the management of temple affairs as necessary for reasons of revenue and maintenance of local control. Over the last century, the self-respect movement, which emerged from the Madras Presidency, viewed the regulation of temples and oversight of their resources as a critical feature of anti-caste reforms. Without this, there would have been no temple entry legislation in 1936 and 1947 today. Tamil Nadu and Kerala are among the few states where governments have appointed priests from background classes after a prolonged legal struggle. Ultimately, any argument against government control of temple affairs would be sticking at the root of social justice. The role of the government in ensuring that surplus funds are appropriate in a lawful manner is settled. Any reversal of this would only result in a setback of the long legacy of social justice and religious reforms that South India has pioneered. Caught in the crossfire. Universities in Kerala cannot be made pawns in an ideological war. Will the BJP-TDP alliance signal a new political fault line? Prime Minister to visit UK Maldives this week. Modi is expected to unveil India UK shared pact that was announced in May. He has been invited to Maldives for Independence Day celebration, maritime security talks on records with Meju. From New Delhi, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will embark on a two-nation visit to the United Kingdom and the Maldives from July 23 to 26, the External Affairs Ministry announced on Sunday. During the visit to the United Kingdom, the Prime Minister is expected to unveil the bilateral trade agreement that was announced by both sides on May 6. During the visit, Prime Minister Modi will hold wide-ranging discussion with Prime Minister Starmer on the entire gamut of India-UK bilateral relations. They will also exchange views on issues of regional and global importance. The ministry shared in a statement. The visit will also include a meeting with King Charles III Mr. Modi had announced the trade deal on May 6, describing it as ambitious and mutually beneficial. The announcement followed a telephone conversation with Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Negotiations for the agreement, which began in 2022, witnessed several delays due to changes in government in the UK. The British government had described the agreement as the biggest and most economically significant bilateral trade deal. Commerce and Commerce and Industry Ministry Piyush Goyal has visited the UK in June to lay the groundwork for the unveiling of the free trade agreement. The visit will include a review of the comprehensive strategic partnership between the two countries with a specific focus on trade and economy, technology and innovation, defense and security, climate, health, education and health, and people-to-people ties, the External Affairs Ministry said. Guest of honor following the UK leg of the tour, Mr. Modi will travel to the Maldives on July 25 at the invitation of President Mohamed Nadu. He will be the guest of honor at the 16th Independence Day celebrations of the Maldives on July 26. The two leaders will also take stock of the progress in the implementations of the India Maldives joint vision for a comprehensive economic and maritime security partnership adopted during the state visit of the President of Maldives to India in October 2024, the ministry said. Nepal ministry says Prime Minister Oli will visit India in September, open to debate on Sindhu says government. Kailash Yatra gives new impetus to ties and voices. Petition in Supreme Court seeks meaningful probe in Justice Verma case. From New Delhi, the Free Echoes, the Inquiry Committee report, which also criticized the Delhi police for lack of quick action. The petition has been filed in the Supreme Court criticizing the center for not initiating an effective and meaningful investigation into allegations of discovery and removal of banned case from the residential premises of High Court Judge Justice Yashwant Verma in Delhi following a fire. The central government, which is in charge of the Delhi police, or it being reported that there has been an incident of huge volumes of currency notes burned and partially burned being found and clandestinely removed from the official residence of Justice Verma was duty bound to direct the Delhi police to register and first information report. It amounts to a great failure in the discharge of its sovereign function, the duty to investigate crimes and secure punishments to those who violate the law. Advocate Matthew Z. Vidumbara petitioner in person submitted in a petition. In fact, the petition echoed the very report of the in-house inquiry committee constituted by the Chief Justice of India, Justice Sanjeev Khanna, which had also criticized the Delhi police for its lack of quick action. The panel had concluded that the police were slipshod for not lodging an FIR or preparing a seizure memo. Justice Verma too has forced his defense on the lack of any material evidence to base the allegations raised against him. Mr. Nedumpara's petition is the third in a series filed by the advocate in the top court. The registration of an FIR. Minimum support gained to move for impeachment of Justice Verma says this issue. legislation underway in eastward are messages, early diagnosis, lifestyle changes, and prevent GERD complication, experts say. Doctors on Sunday stressed the need for early diagnosis and simple lifestyle changes to prevent further complications due to gastroesophageal reflux disease, a digestive disorder. They were speaking at a webinar on GERD-free living, drug-free living from burn to balance. It was the final episode of the 15-part webinar series under the Happy India initiative by the Daruvi Hospital, Vellore, in collaboration with the Hindu Tribunal uphold ED seizure of Shraddha kosher assets. Ravi's deaths reported in Karnataka in February. Number of children in Onshai who have cleared class 10 exam. LPs who have signed notice to bring motion against Justice Verma. Number of schooling years children could lose due to heat wave. Number of new polling stations created in Bihar. Is Israel committing genocide in Gaza? What is the European Commission age check plan to keep children safe online? European Commission is developing an age verification app under the Digital Services Act to prevent minors from accessing harmful online content while claiming to protect adult users' privacy. Many critics argue that the move risks compromising privacy and fails to effectively safeguard children. The European Commission is working on an age verification app that is meant to stop children from accessing unsafe content online while protecting the privacy of adult internet users. Critics, however, claim this comes at the cost of user privacy. What is the European Commission age verification debate? The European Union has, in the recent past, enacted multiple pieces of legislation to regulate the operations of large online platforms such as e-commerce giants, social media companies, and even pornography hosting websites. In particular, the European Commission has highlighted some risks that children face when they are online, including platform designs that encourage digital addiction, cyberbullying, exposure to harmful content, and unwanted contact from strangers. Digital advocates have previously recommended that the user interface of a large digital platform could be adjusted on the basis of the user's age, with children receiving private accounts and having their safety or well-being feature turned on by default when it comes to platforms such as porn sites. Children ideally should not be able to access or even accidentally see explicit content. One way this could be done is through an app that verifies the user's age online in order to be certain that children are not using adults' accounts. The European Commission on July 14 presented guidelines concerning the protection of minors on online platforms, along with along with a prototype of an age verification app under the Digital Services Act (DSA). Development of the age verification blueprint began early this year and is built on the same technical specifications as the European Digital Identity wallets, which are slated to be rolled out before the end of 2026, according to the European Commission, with two services being to be compatible. Denmark, Greece, Spain, France, and Italy are some of the first countries that will work alongside the Commission with the aim of launching their own national age verification apps in the future in their own language. During the pilot phase, the age verification solution will be further enhanced with new features apart from EID. Further updates will include additional options for users to know they are over 18. The age verification will also be enhanced with the latest technical solutions, zero knowledge proof to ensure the highest level of privacy protection, said the European Commission in its post. How will age verification affect the privacy of adults? While those in favor of creating a safer internet for children are in support of making age verification mandatory to access porn websites, critics of the move believe that it violates privacy rights and can put their security online at risk or make their browsing activities easier to track and monetize. However, the European Commission has defended the privacy standards of its prototype app and said that it will enable age verification while preventing privacy violation. The regulator added that the technical specification and the open source age verification blueprint were freely available to view and use as well. It will, for example, allow users to easily prove they are over 18 when accessing restricted adult content online, while remaining in full control of any other personal information such as a user's exact age or identity. No one would be able to track, see, or reconstruct what content individual users are consulting, stated the Commission. Meanwhile, at the topmost levels of the French government, President Emmanuel Macron also supports age verification and even wants to ban social media for users who are under 15 years of age. France is one of the countries that will first try out the age verification app prototype. There are also ongoing discussions as to whether certain social media platforms that contain adult content such as X on declassified as porn platforms. This also has implications for the user experience of adult social media users across the European Union. Why are some porn companies against age verification, while most companies agree that children using the internet should be protected from explicit content, cybersecurity threats, and social media addiction? They often disagree on the ideal way to go about this process. For example, Pornhub owner ILO's main contention is whether age verification takes place at the website level or not. In a company post on June 26, ILO stressed the need for device-based age verification. According to the company, age verification should have been carried out by Apple, Google, and or Microsoft long before an underage user even arrives at an adult website such as Pornhub. For close to 2 weeks in June, internet users in France who tried to access pornography platforms such as Pornhub, YouPorn, and RedTube encountered a largely black screen with a notice or a historic painting with a call to action against the France government's move to implement mandatory age verification for adult platforms. ILO also warned that users unable to access Pornhub would go to smaller, less regulated sites potentially hosting illegal content. It unblocked its websites in late June after Paris Administrative Tribunal's decision over the rules unconfirmed compatibility with EU laws, but ILO's next action remained to be seen as the top administrative court affirmed this month that age verification was a must. Data breaches happen daily, forcing you to enter sensitive personal information repeatedly creates an unacceptable security risk we refuse to impose on our users. We refuse to compromise your privacy with measures that ironically fail to effectively protect children, said ILO in a statement on its website on July 15. To make the internet safer for everyone, every phone, tablet, or computer should start as a kid-safe device. Only verified adults should be allowed to unlock access to age inappropriate content, said the company. I am keeping my lips zipped about the fact. It was fairly oblivious. It was fairly obvious by then that Swatak was going to blow away any Smova. Did you find the time to watch the Wimbledon finals on TV? I watched the men's match completely, but when it came to the ladies' final, I watched online the first three games before switching off the TV. Only three games. It was fairly obvious by then that Swiatek was going to blow away Anisimova. Blow away. The expression blow away has many different meanings, but in the context of sports, it is mostly used to mean to defeat someone comprehensively. In other words, you outperform everyone else. I guess you could say that here is an example. After the second round, Igor's attack just blew away her opponents. How about this example? During the first half of the game, the two teams were evenly matched. In the second half, however, our opponent blew us away by securing 7 balls. Which there is another one we thought Sindhu would blow away the competition. We were shocked when she lost in the first round. That's what makes every tournament exciting. So did Sujata buy you breakfast? After all, you did take a bet with her that Swatek would win. That's true, but Sujata is going through a tough time, so I am keeping my lips zipped about the bet. Does it mean same thing as keeping your lips buttoned? Very good when you keep your lips zipped. What you are doing is keeping quiet. The manager was angry and wasn't willing to listen to reason, so I decided to keep my lips zipped. Keeping one's lips buttoned is the best thing to do when someone is angry. Exactly. So, how are things at your office? Heard you are getting a new boss. That's true. He'll be joining us in a week or two. That's long time. What are you guys going to be doing? What we have been doing the past few days? I suppose sleep, walk through the work day, sleep, walk through the day. What are you talking about? Do you know what sleepwalk means? Doesn't it mean to walk in one's sleep? I am told I used to sleepwalk when I was a kid. I believe my uncle sleepwalks even now. Sleepwalk has other meanings as well. It's frequently used in the informal context to mean to say something without really thinking. And you are not thinking because you are asleep. Since your mind is not functioning or has been switched off, you are not really worried about the consequences of what you do or say. Very good. How about this example? Last night I saw a movie where most of the actors sleepwalk through their roles. So what you are suggesting is that the actors were wooden. There was little or no life in their acting. Yes. Thank you. I thank all my brothers and sisters. I thank all my teachers and trainers. I thank all my professors and professionals. I thank all my listeners and learners. I thank all respected doctors and directors. I thank all my adorable ministers and managers. I thank all honorable advocates, advertisers, administrators and advisors. The most honorable President Professor Modi ji. Last but not least, I thank all. Thank you.